Hey everybody, Movie Review Next Door here, and I'm back with another review. And this time, uh, tonight I saw Ava. It's a 2020 action thriller drama film, directed by Tate Taylor, and it stars Jessica Chastain, Common, John Malkovich, Colin Farrell, Gina Davis, Jess Wexler, Ewan Gruffudd, and Joan Chen. In this film, a Black Ops assassin is forced to fight for her own survival after a job goes dangerously wrong. So, what did I think of Ava? Well, I'd say wasted potential because really the issue here is that it kind of feels like a tampered with film. It feels like the original film was kind of a more independent type drama about, oh, this hit woman goes back home, has to deal with shit at home, and it would mostly be about her reconnecting with her family after leaving them behind for so long. And then the company was like, you know what's big? Action movies in the style of John Wick, not ripoff. I'm not saying this is a rip because it's not. Um, I don't care if Common's in it. That has nothing to do with it. Uh, it's just a very misguided movie in how it does the action side, but I'll get to that. Let me get to the cast. Jessica Chastain plays Ava, the main character. She's a Black Ops assassin yet again, like I said. I think in her best acting in the film is when she's doing the dramatic stuff. When she's doing like acting alongside people like Gina Davis or Common or Colin Farrell, I think she really shines there. Where she doesn't exactly work for me is in the badass female part of it. This film isn't super feministy. It's not like it's saying, oh, all men are evil, because there's quite a few male characters that are pretty cool. But I kind of wish this was recast. I understand Jessica Chastain probably was really into this character because she's one of the producers, but I don't know. Just every time she tried to come off as menacing, where she was just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, it seems like she's trying to make her voice deeper in order to make it work, and it just doesn't work for me. Common plays Michael, a former boyfriend of hers. He's fine. I usually like Common a lot more. I think he's a lot better in John Wick Chapter 2, which again I'd watch over this. Um John Malkovich is Duke, who is basically Ava's handler. He doesn't get a ton to do. He's in about the same role. I'd say this movie is very similar to Unlocked with Noomi Rapace in terms of his casting, but in Unlocked he was a lot funnier. He had a bit more liveliness to him. Um, and here he's just kind of informational. Uh, Colin Farrell, I usually like him too as Simon. He's basically our main villain. He's fine, but he doesn't have a lot to work with. Um, Gina Davis plays Bobby. She's one of the big highlights of the film. Every scene between Jessica Chastain and her and other characters are some of the best scenes in the film. Well acted, well written for the most part. Gina Davis, I love her to death. Jess Wexler plays Judy, Ava's sister. She's fine, doesn't get a ton to do. Ewan Gruffudd is Peter, basically the first hit of the movie. Nice to see him. Basically, cameo. And Joan Chen as Tony, she's basically has this like gambling parlor that she owns that Common's character is a part of, in that he's gambling away a lot of money. I like her in this. I kind of wish she was the main villain because Joan Chen is a bit more interesting than Colin Farrell to me in this film. Like her character, I think, could be expanded upon and made into a pretty badass villain, or at least threatening. Because I find Joan Chen kind of threatening. But yeah, the when I get down to it, this feels like two movies put together. You have the one movie, which is a drama about a woman who worked in basically I'm gonna say military, a military woman returning home trying to connect with her family, even though she's former military and now an assassin. A military woman comes home, tries to reconnect with her family, has her ups and downs, deals with different hot button topics like crime, gambling, um, rekindling lost love. There's that side of it. And then there's the action movie where it's the assassin who is fucked over by her own people and who asks her targets why she was sent to kill them. And she's basically on the run from a bunch of assassins, which is kind of similar to John Wick Chapter 2, where they're after killing, well, John Chapter 3 more so, where people are after John because he killed someone in the Continental and broken rules. Not a part of the he's not a part of the group anymore, so there's a bunch of assassins after him. That's what this kind of should have been. Because if you're going to do something like that, you have to A, make sure the drama works, make sure you have actors at their at the absolute top of their game. Two, don't skimp out of the action because the people who watch this as an action movie will be let down if the action isn't well done. And three, you have to cast someone who works in the main role. Jessica Chastain, I'm afraid, does not work for me. It does not take a lot for me to buy into someone being a female assassin. There are quite a few notable examples I can list. I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead works in Kate. I think Chloe Grace Moretz works in Kick Ass, even though she was like, 11 or 12 in that. I think that Uma Thurman works in Kill Bill. I think Noomi Rapace, again, from Unlocked. They didn't try to make her an ultra badass. They made her more realistic. She's getting the fuck beaten out of her a lot. But they still do enough to make her work as a main as like a main action hero. Here, the I hate to say this, but it feels like the action scenes are an afterthought in this supposed action thriller. And why I say supposed, I think what happened here is it feels like halfway through making this drama, which is what Tate Taylor usually does. He is kind of a journeyman director. He's done things like Ma, which is a horror movie. I've never seen it. Girl on the Train, which is a straight up mystery thriller, and The Help, which is I guess biopic drama about segregation. I guess that's what you call it. I remember liking The Help. I remember not thinking it was too over the top, and I remember Jessica Chastain being a very fun, or not fun, but a very. She plays one of those characters you love to hate. Um, but here, okay, what it feels like has happened here is that they were starting making this drama. Like the first thing I said, like, oh, she's coming back. She can't tell anybody about her past. She's going through all of this shit. And like by the end of the film, of this original version of this film, she would have told her family members about what she does. And I feel like that would have been a better use of the money for this because I know this also came out during the beginning of the pandemic where everybody's using the excuses that, oh, we can't have too many people in this area because COVID protocol, blah. Yet we're shutting down all these restaurants and shit, and people can't make their living. But that's an that's something for another day. But even with that excuse, the action scenes in this are very poor for me. And it doesn't take a lot to impress me. I'm not saying that I have low expectation. It's just that I can see where effort has been put in, and a lot of these feel very haphazard, like they did them each. I feels like each of the action scenes were shot in like one day, or maybe even less than that. The worst offender for me is the one set at the I forgot what it was. There's a general and she like slits the guy's throat, shoots a couple guys, and then like pulls the guy over her head and like throws him on the ground, and I'm like, I'm sorry. If you're gonna do a female action hero like this and cast someone like her, again, I know it's her pet project kind of, don't do that shit. Make it more realistic. Make it so that she has to use what's in her environment. Don't make it a power fantasy if you don't believe if people aren't going to believe in the power, you know? Arnold Schwarzenegger. The reason Arnold Schwarzenegger works as an action hero is because he has the charisma, he has the voice that's iconic, he knows how to deliver a one-liner, he knows how to deliver dialogue, and he looks like he can beat the fuck out of you. Him, Stallone, Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren, all these other people, they look like they can kill someone or beat the shit out of someone at least. Jessica Chastain does not, for me. And that is part of why I've held off watching the 355, but maybe sometime I'll watch it. I don't know. But the issue here again is that the choreography could work with certain actors, but it is also very clear that she is not used to doing her own stunts because there is quick cutting, and that's one of the big reasons I don't watch a lot of bigger budget action movies. Or I know this isn't a bigger budget action movie. This was probably like a 20 million or 15 million budget movie. That's why I don't watch these movies with like Hollywood people doing action movies for the most part, because they tend to quick cut when they do like hand to hand stuff. Because shooting, whatever, shooting is easy to shoot or easy to film. But when you start doing like body slamming or the like knife fighting or whatever, then you end up quick cutting because your actors don't know what the fuck they're doing. And I'm not trying to shit on Jessica Chastain. I think she's a decent enough actress. But that's what this should have stuck to. It should have focused way less on the action. And I love action movies. I hate to say that as a fan of a ton of action movies. Literally, a ton of my favorite movies of all time are action movies because that's what my predominant interest is in. But I still like other genres a lot when they're done right. And I think your main issue again is that it doesn't know which genre it wants to be, because you have bits of this film where it almost completely goes into drama territory. You almost never get a connecting of the two genres, and that I think that's a big issue with this. I think this could have worked if they could do some pretty decent action scenes and decent drama, but there's issues on both sides. It's not just the action. On the drama end, you basically have a plot about her going back to her family. Her mother is in the hospital with angina, and again, Gina Davis, I love her to death. I think the best scenes of the film are with her and Ava, or her and Jessica Chastain, and I think they work very well off of each other. Their last scene together is very, very, very well done. Great acting from both of them. And I think if they could have just like, again, not had Colin Farrell's character in this at all, get rid of him, make Joan Chen the villain, make it more domestic. Like if you have, because Colin Farrell's character kind of comes in near the end and he feels kind of like an afterthought, or somewhere near the middle of the film he comes in and he just ends up being kind of underdeveloped. Joan Chen, give her more screen time. Make it that the city is a bit overrun by crime and she has to basically use her skills in order to turn the people who work for this like gambling ring against each other so that she can find an easy way to get to Joan Chen and stop her from doing this shit. I think if you focus on the common thing, maybe recast common, I don't know. Common just seems off in this movie. But if you focus on that, I think you could have a really interesting drama thriller where you can still have a couple action beats, but not predominantly focus on it and feel like you're half-assing both of them. And another issue with the drama side of it is Common and Jessica Chastain. They don't have much chemistry. I don't really buy them as former lovers at all. There's even a bit where they kiss, and I'm like, okay, there's like I did feel nothing here, and it puts me in a bit of a conundrum because I don't want to give this an okay because I do think there are well done things. Again, there's like a couple beats near the second half that I found enjoyable. There's a bit of exchange. There's an exchange of dialogue between her and Joan Chen that I thought was really good. I think that scene is fun. The Joan Chen scene where she's going into the club, killing a couple people, and getting to Joan Chen. I think that was fine. Perfectly normal, perfectly entertaining enough. And a bit near the end with someone that I thought was kind of darkly funny and it worked. But there aren't enough for me to call this good because I just think a lot of things are missing. It feels like a film kind of thrown together for the most part. Mostly due to the fact that it feels like a drama with some action scenes thrown in that are really not that well done. But yeah. If anybody goes to watch this film, I'd say keep your keep your expectations low. I wouldn't exactly recommend it, but I will say that I do see what could have been a much better film. I can definitely see. I can definitely see the blueprints of something that could have worked. Oh yeah, also, speaking of the direction, other issues with the film. The direction was really weird. It didn't feel that professional at certain times. There are bits where you can tell there's supposed to be a clear zoom in on a character and the camera's like wobbling and shit and I'm like you 100% have a fucking steady cam. There's no way this movie does not have a steady cam. There's bits where there's like a bit where a plane is coming to Colin Farrell's house and it like lands in the water, and then the camera does like there's like an in-camera or no, in editing zoom on the plane, and it looks really shitty. And I'm like, you don't need to hide anything. It's just a plane. Um, and again, the action scenes, there's quite a bit of quick cutting at times. It's not Taken 2 or 3 level or Columbiana level, but it is still pretty noticeable. And I'm glad we've mostly gotten away from that nowadays, but yeah, the the film's really unspecial. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I thought I'd see something else in it this time, but nah. But yeah, it's somebody might get something out of it. I'll try watching some of Tate Taylor's other films, but still not much in this for me. But yeah, that was my review of Ava. If you've seen the film, let me know down in the comments. If you have any recommendations, put those in the comments as well. And Movie Reviewer Next Door, out.